Ada Twist Scientist by Andrea Beaty, illustrated by David Roberts. Ada Marie, said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and looked all around, observing the world but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and make her big brick, with a trail of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day, chasing each sound in sight, and didn't slow down till she honed out a night. Her parents were frazzled, but tried not to freak, as Ada grew bigger and still did not speak. Clearly, young Ada, with loss in her head, would have something to say when it ought to be said. That's just what happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through her house on a fact-finding spree and climbed up the clock just as high as she could. Her parents yelled, "Stop!" as all good parents would. Ada's chin quivered, but she did not cry. She took a deep breath and she simply asked, "Why?" Why does it tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? Why are there pointy things stuck into a nose? Why are these hairs up inside of your nose? Why, what, how, when? She started with why and then what and how and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as she dust parents smiled at the curious thoughts of their curious child, who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You will figure it out." Her parents kept up with their high-flying kid, whose questions and chaos both grew as she did. What does it do? What it is for? Will it be the same? Why won't it? What if? Why will it? When will it? When? What? How soon? Now? How can I find out? Why does it? How? How does it? Can I? Why? Even Miss Greer found her hands were quite full when young Ada's chaos wreaked hovers at school. But this much was clear about Miss Ada's twist. She has had a trace of a great scientist. Ada was busy that first day of spring, testing the sounds that make mockingbird sing. With the horrible stretch whacked her right in the nose, a pungent aurora, and curled up her toes. "Zoe," said Ada, which got her to thinking. Is the source of that terrible stinking? How does a nose know there is something to smell? And does it still stink if there is no nose to tell? She rattled off questions and tapped on her chin. She started at a star where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. Ada did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells, both the stinky and good. The hypothesis Ada thought could be true. The terrible stink came from Daddy's cabbage stew. She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. Then Zoe, the stink stuck again. Just like that, hypothesis 2 is caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make such a stink on its own. It needs perfume and some fancy cologne. So young Ada test was a thought. She started again, but her parents yelled, "Stop! Ada Marie, to the thinking chair now. By the time we count 3. "Enough," said her mother. "That's it," said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. "Why?" Ada questioned. Her mother said no. "What?" Ada queried. Her dad said, "Go. You've ruined our supper. You make the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think." She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist didn't know what to do. She sat all alone by herself in the hall, and Ada once more could say nothing but at all. And so Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat. She thought about science and stew and the cat and how her experiments make such a good big mess. Does it have to be so? Is that part of the success? Are messy a problem? And while she was thinking, what was the source of that terrible stinking? Ada Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question, and then she asked 2. and each of those led her to 3 questions more, and some of those questions result in 4. As Ada got thinking, she really dug in. She scribbled her question and tapped on her chin. She started at why, and then what, and how, and when. At the end of the hall, she reached why once again. Her parents calmed down and they came back to talk. They looked at the hallway and just had to hawk. No patch of beer paint could be seen on the wall. The thinking chair now was the great thinking wall. They watched their young daughter and sighed as they did. What could they do with this curious kid who wanted to know what the world was about? They smiled and whispered, "We will figure it out." And that's what they did, because this is all you do when your kid has a passion and heart that is true. They remade their world. Now they are all in the act of helping young Ada sort fiction from fact. They asked us lots of questions. How could she resist? This is all in the heart of a young scientist. And as for that smell, what can Ada Twist do? But learn all she can with her friends in grade 2. Well, they discovered a stink that curls toes. Well, that's the question. And someday, who knows? The end.